Here we are again with a brand new sit down with Big Vito, and this roundtable is back together again with, of course, Big Vito Lagrasso, Colin the Cleaver, Andrew from No DQ, Jargo from everywhere, and myself. Gentlemen, how's it going? Jargo, what's going on, man? I like being on
What's
videos
up?
with you. Got to get you back over on No DQ.
Yeah, well,
Well,
when schedules allow for it, it shall happen. I'm just happy to be sitting around with you boys. It's been a while, so I'm looking forward to talking some pro wrestling with you.
yeah, well, Vito's got the topic, so it could be about anything. We'll see. Colin, what's up?
Not too much. Just enjoying the day off. Went to a celebration of life for a friend that passed a couple weeks ago this afternoon. Just, you know, it's dark now at 4:50. So, how it is.
Yeah.
You live 20 miles down the road, it sucks now.
All right.
Meanwhile, Vito, Vito, you're East Coast time too.
Yeah, it's been, since I work the overnights, I get to see the sun rise. I see the sun, and I really like if I'm sleeping, I don't get to see the sun during the day, so it's all right. But guys, good to have you back. Good everybody here. Congratulations to Colin on getting married, getting sick, getting married. You know what I mean? Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you all better now? Did you go through the COVID? What'd you do? You had the measles. Tell us about it.
Oh, I think it wasn't like that type sick. It was more stuff with my kidneys. So
But now you're back. You look like you dropped a few pounds. You better have your wife start feeding you.
Yeah, I actually am the only dude I know that loses weight on his honeymoon. Like, I don't understand it.
All right, man. Daylight savings time. Today is election day. How many of you guys have voted today? 2, 3, and 1 no.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know, guys. I know I'm older than you guys, and my philosophy is, it doesn't matter what I vote. I got to live life by somebody else's rules anyway. I don't know if you guys have the same philosophy, but I hope your vote is meaningful and the person you voted for helps carry out some of the things you want done to a better living. But speaking of better living and all-time pastimes, guys, Colin, I know this is not your favorite, but we're going to go through a bunch of topics. Let's get your topics, guys, and your opinions on the Pro Football Sunday this Sunday, where we seen Brett Favre. Not Brett Favre. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Brett Favre. You know why? Because that guy in Green Bay fumbled the ball. His team is 3-19. Mr. Jargo, no, you hate that son of a bitch. So go ahead and tell me.
They stink. The Packers are awful, man. I mean, it'd be sad if it wasn't so damn predictable. I mean, I think everybody kind of saw this coming from Green Bay this year, and it seems like the only people that are super, super surprised are the people that think that the Packers are going to win 12, 13 games every year. The reality is that team is just not very good. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. That team's not going to be very good. And Aaron Rodgers is frustrated. Matt LaFleur is sitting on the hot seat. Things are going to get real interesting in Green Bay real quick.
Hey, Colin, what is your favorite football team?
I have to go with the Browns. Honestly, I'm a Cleveland guy. I don't really watch football anymore. I did when I was younger, but I just fell out of it. And so my team back in the day was the St. Louis Rams.
Okay.
Back with like Marshall Faulk and Kurt Warner and stuff like the 2000s, 99, 2001 era. But anymore, if it's a football game, it's a Browns game where I'm not watching.
Didn't Kurt Warner win 2 Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken?
Mm-hmm. And then he went off to Arizona.
Right, won 2 Super Bowls,
Yeah.
right? And when you talk about Kurt,
I know for sure one, but I know Adam Vinatieri killed the dreams of another one. So ever since then, I've not liked New England. So,
and your take on Mr. All-Time Packer, the Mr. Virtue? Virtue.
Brett Favre. I don't know.
Aaron Rodgers losing. We're going Aaron Rodgers losing, and then we're going to
all-time Packer still Brett Favre. That's what you asked me.
Now let's go to my man Tom Brady pulling one out of his ass this Sunday in the 2-minute drill.
Well, but
nobody's
that's what
seen
he
it
does.
coming.
that team still has problems. But Tom Brady making a come from behind win doesn't matter how it happens. He has a track record of doing that. He usually does it with great teams. This team, not so much. So, but he's in a bad division, so he's probably still going to make the playoffs, and you never know what's going to happen once you get there.
Jargo, your take on Tom Brady this week in the Giselle controversy?
Well, I don't think there is much Giselle controversy. Two people decided that they didn't want to be married to each other anymore, and now they're not married to each other. And that's pretty much as deep as I look into it. Tom Brady's playing really, really well, Vito. I don't know if you're watching these games, but Tom Brady.
I'm a Tom Brady
NFL right now.
I'm the Tom Brady guy. Believe me, I'm not knocking Tom Brady. I just think that if when you boil it down, guys, Todd Bowles sucks as a head coach. Period. The end.
Hey, when is Antonio Brown and Giselle going to show up in public together?
I'm waiting for that one to happen.
I am waiting for that, even if it's like not serious, just to F with Tom. I mean, we don't know, but that's entertainment right there.
The Jets have won another one. The Eagles are on top. The Giants have been doing well. Guys, we do have a football season. All right, let's switch.
You know what's weird, though, Vito?
Go ahead.
It's like Colin was saying earlier. I feel like interest is down.
It is.
We have all these kind of teams that are coming out of nowhere, and nobody cares because they're teams like the Buffalo Bills and the Tennessee Titans and the Philadelphia Eagles and the Minnesota Vikings. Like, these are all like small market teams that nobody cares about.
Yeah, people are getting happy over the Eagles, and they suck.
I feel the last time I've heard so many people talk about the Eagles is when Mark Wahlberg came out with that Invincible movie back in like 2007.
Yeah, the Vinny Papali, they're still living on this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in the 70s.
So I feel that's the last time you've heard Philadelphia Eagles together in more times than any is as of late is besides that movie. But
who's not going to win the Super Bowl?
Go ahead, give it to us.
Who's not going to win the Super Bowl? The Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, I believe you 100%.
Yep,
100%.
Figured I'd say
now,
that.
guys, let's switch to baseball where we had a great series. All right, Cleveland was represented.
We tried our best, but again,
right, and we went through that. And ultimately, the Houston Astros won the World Series. Guys, what's your thoughts on the World Series winner and all the crybaby losers?
All right, Vito. The only way I know how to say this is Dusty Baker won a World Series. You tell me there wasn't any cheating going on or advantages the Astros were getting that were getting slid under the radar with the pitchers rubbing stuff on their hand. Dusty Baker wins a World Series. Now I'm suspect of everything. Astros. Like I give him the benefit of the doubt that first round of cheating. When Dusty Baker wins a World Series after all of his failed playoff attempts over the years, I'm not buying it. And then Verlander looked shaky until his final start looked good. First time in a World Series game for him where he looked good. I'm not buying it. Something just didn't seem right, man. Phillies had all that momentum. What happened?
Jargo, what do you got?
What I think is interesting is this is the lowest rated World Series of all time. And I think that is because of the Houston Astros. I think people dislike the Houston Astros, but not enough to watch them lose. Like they're that struggling heel in the mid card that's just like he's a bad guy, but nobody's really sure why he's a bad guy. He just cheats to win. But like we don't care enough to actually pay money to watch him get beat up. We just want to watch him get beat up. And Philadelphia is just not that powerful of a market right now when it comes to the national landscape. And people are being turned off by these sports, Vito, and it's kind of weird. Like the NFL interest is waning. Right. Major League Baseball is at its lowest point ever when it comes to TV ratings. What's going on? Like, why aren't people watching sports?
I don't know. Colin, what's your take?
Well, I know I would watch more Indians games. I'm going to say Indians because that's what I'm saying. Because they have a contract with Bally Sports. And if you live within like 50 miles of Cleveland, your games are blacked out unless you pay the
unblocked.
Yeah. Like whatever that is, break it down a month or annually.
They do the same thing here in Tampa. You know that they do.
Yeah, they do the same thing in Pittsburgh and all
Yep.
sorts of it's
Indianapolis is
horrible.
the same way.
Now, the money that's going to be thrown out in the free agent market, who do you think is going to coup the biggest contract? Now, Edwin Diaz and the Mets just signed for 100 and something million over 5 years. That's good. But there
I
are
look
a
You
lot-
forward
mean, you
to
mean
getting
somebody
meltdown.
not named Aaron Judge? Because Aaron Judge is going to get like a third of $1 billion thrown.
You
at
think he's going to make 500 million?
It wouldn't
Whoever
surprise
gets
me.
it, whoever signs him is going to regret it because he will not be worth that. I mean, well, in baseball, right? How much are they going to make from the TV deals and merchandise and all that? But like on the field, dude's going to start getting mad hurt. He's already showed signs of being fragile in his career. This is the 1 year he looked healthy because he's getting his contract. He sucked it up, and but you know what? I'm telling you, he's either going to get cracked for roids or he's going to get hurt.
For
And
roids.
something's going to
Wow.
give with him. Whoever spends that money, it's going to backfire on them. You watch. San
Guys,
Francisco Giants, I don't care. Which would be funny because that's Russo's team.
You want to know who I think the biggest loser out of the whole thing is?
The
Jason DeGrom.
Mets.
The
Who?
Jason DeGrom of the Mets. I think he should have stayed where he was. He's going to take this money. He's going to go to someplace like the Texas Rangers or Seattle Mariners, and he's going to perish. And we're never going to hear from him again.
It happens, but they get their money. That's all they care about. Feed their
Colin,
family.
who do you see winning any big-time contracts?
dude, at this point, I'm not even sure.
Not even sure.
Not even
Chago, what
not
do you
even-
got?
Well, I think the biggest one is going to be Judge. But as we saw inside of the series this year, it needs to be these starting pitchers. The starting pitchers need to start making all this money because they're the ones that win championships. If you have a great lineup, it doesn't matter who it is. That Houston pitching staff was the difference. And it's been the difference for the last several years. And what has been the rip on the Yankees? They can't hit when they face good pitchers. That's where all the money needs to start going. And until then, does it even really matter? I mean, I think DeGrom's going to get a fortune.
I think he is too.
Whatever tack, that invisible tack they put on their neck or hand that nobody can detect, that is whoever made that, Balco Building 2, that they need to get all the money. How interesting is it, guys, that way, way back, I think it was the Cardinals kind of like tampered with Houston's computers to get scouting information. I don't know if it really affected anything on the field, but then Houston then becomes cheaters in baseball. That is so interesting. And they have 2 World Series now, championships.
All
How
right.
long is that going to take to wear off? Because I don't think they were cheating this year, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's still that team.
I mean,
how
how many years
before
years
that
ago
wears
was that?
off?
That was 2017. And then, I mean, I don't think they're doing the blatant cheating, but I think they're finding ways, which again, certain cheating is legal. Anybody has access to do it. You should be able to steal signs. There's nothing
Altuve?
saying you can't steal signs.
Does
Altuve-
it stick with Houston until Altuve is gone?
Yeah, probably.
Now, we're on this cheating thing, right? And you guys know the Baseball Hall of Fame has their final ballot. And we have Clemens, we have Schilling, we have Barry Bonds, we have Sammy Sosa. I know there's a whole host of guys who were on the ballot for the last time. And then we have Don Mattingly made the ballot. Keith Hernandez did not make the ballot. How did Keith Hernandez not make the ballot? I don't know. But
what ballot are you talking about? Bonds and Clemens past their expiration date.
No, they were on the baseball writers.
Not the baseball writers. They can be on the legacy. Yeah, something every 4 years, actual people that played and managers. Bonds and Clemens get in by them, no doubt in my mind. They will.
The contemporary ballot. That's what it's called.
All right,
temporary. They're both getting in by their peers for sure.
Now that's the list we have of guys, but if they don't make it on this round, that's it. Now you talk about cheating, and we go back to the all-time greatest ball player of all time, Pete Rose, which everybody knows. He's still out there. He still isn't in the Hall of Fame, and everybody gets a second chance. Cheaters, steroid users, everybody. Guys, should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? We're going to get a yes or no. Colin, should Pete be in the Hall of Fame?
Well, this is real quick. There was a thing Jargo brought up, like how long is this going to last with Houston? I mean, look, how many years has it been with Pete Rose, and people still automatically like first thing they go to. So, but for me, I'm going to say yes. It's been how long? He hasn't been in the tabloids. He hasn't been this. You know what I mean? His character, I feel, has come a long way. So I'm going to say yes.
Jargo.
Nope.
Nope. All right. And Mr. Virtue.
Yes, when he's dead. He will be in for his playing on the field.
That's possible.
That is where it's going to be
passed
when he's
away.
dead. And, you know, just like wrestling, guys beg to get into the Hall of Fame, and they do it after they pass away. This brings us to our wrestling segment, guys, and we got a lot to talk about. Guys, Colin, I know you're all geared up now because we finally got something you'd like to talk about. All right? Guys,
Let's talk about food. He likes food.
We're getting where he just was sick. He's losing weight.
That's the MOB. That's men of business. Never mind.
Right, and he's, you know, he just got married. He's feeding his wife, his family. He doesn't have time to eat. He's got to do podcasts and make some dough, yo. Get some street cred. All right.
That's
Here we
$2,000
go.
for the plan.
All right, guys. We have a lot of stuff going on. Guys, you know my favorite subject is the AEW botches. I know you guys catch it. Have you been catching the AEW botches?
As of recent, I mean, I see you retweet them all the time, and that's honestly how I see them. So,
do you like it? Do you go to that? Am I the only one who goes there for festivities and smiles, or am I just a troll?
Occasionally, not like an everyday thing, but
right.
It is fun to watch because, I mean, come on.
All right.
I do like you, Vito. That's how I consume the AEW product.
Trolls. And Jargo.
Are you ready for this one? Because I'm pretty hot on AEW right now.
Oh boy.
Screw them. I'm not watching the botches. I'm not watching Dynamite. I'm not watching Rampage. I'm not watching their pay-per-views. Screw them. That's how I feel about AEW right now.
All right.
Did you explain why on a video I wasn't on? What did I miss?
Nope. Kazutori Shibata. They allowed Kazutori Shibata to wrestle inside of a wrestling ring, and I cannot support a company that will allow that. Period.
He had head injury, right?
Head injuries.
He had part of his skull removed.
Removed. That's the guy. And they let him wrestle. So where is...
That's the line. Yeah. That's the line. And they done crossed it, man. I'm done with them.
Okay. Now, on this take, now I spoke to Virtue about this this week, and I want to get your guys' opinion, all right, overall. If they took the WWE roster they have signed, just the guys who were on TV, no NXT guys, would they have a productive TV program? Colin, would you take the WWE roster, put it on AEW? Could you make a show?
Absolutely. I think you could definitely do that because they've been making shows for how long with the roster they have currently. So, I mean, we've seen a lot of bad things in WWE, but AEW is a shit fest. Like, sorry, like I mean, it literally is. It is. What did Braun Strowman post the other day on Twitter? A picture. He was like, "It's the shit indies." I feel a lot of it is that, especially their dark and evolution shows and stuff, that they just throw anybody and everybody on. But yes, you could definitely make a show happen.
Mr. Jargo, what do you think? Could you book a great AEW card with just using WWE talent?
Absolutely. It's called the Ring of Honor, circa 2008. I mean, like, when you look at the WWE roster and the AEW roster at this point, it's basically that old school ROH roster. You would just have to reshuffle the card a little bit. You'd be elevating guys like Sami Zayn. You'd be elevating guys like Kevin Owens, Tyler Black. I mean, Seth Rollins. Like, yeah, absolutely. You can put together a killer wrestling card. And I mean, props to WWE. They've been putting together some really, really good wrestling cards. They've been having some great matches. They still have the same shit finishes, But I mean, like the actual like bell to bell quality has been so much better since Hunter has taken over. They're doing pro wrestling better than AEW is right now.
All right, Virtue, what do you got for me? Could you make a card?
So you're saying make a card, an AEW show with WWE talent?
The WWE talent that's signed on with AEW,
Yeah, we
main
talked
roster
about that
guys.
on Getting Color.
Yes. Can you make
That's
a lineup and a show?
That's a trick question. Yes, you can. However, if Tony Khan's booking it, I question if that can happen, even with those guys. I'm going to leave it there.
All right. Now, we have had some great finishes and great matches. We have Crown Jewel right now. And the Paul brothers, they made history. They made it to Saudi Arabia. They were on the main pay-per-view. They had the match. Now, is it true or false that one of the Paul brothers got hurt? He's got an injury, busted ACL, knee injury. He's out. Is that a work or is it a shoot?
I've gone back and watched that main event a couple times, and I'm trying to figure out where he could possibly tear it, just because the way he walked the entire rest of the match. I know there's like gritting your teeth and getting through it, but an injury like that and not even such anything as a slight limp, that's where I was kind of mixed up on it. But I'm going to give that kid props all day.
Mr. Jargo.
From everything I've heard, it's a shoot. ACL, MCL, torn meniscus. I think knowing the Paul brothers, they are probably playing up to be far more serious than it necessarily is. Like it could be a partial tear versus a full tear that's going to require orthoscopic knee surgery or something. But I mean, by all accounts, best wishes to Logan Paul. He absolutely tore the place down with Roman Reigns. The screenshots I've seen are absolutely impressive, but I'm not watching the Crown Jewel shows either.
All right. Virtue.
I think it's a work. I think it's unless I see physical proof, and I'm saying this. Somebody smarten this guy up. He's Andy Kaufman. He's doing the Andy Kaufman. He's a celebrity. He's gonna make his appearance at the Royal Rumble. Be like, oh my God. That's what I say work until it's 100% proven fact. And I don't know how. I think this boy's working his audience, and that's great because he's having fun doing it. If so, I mean, it doesn't matter. He's part timer. So like this
I
is
hear you. Well, in the chat,
like that.
In the chat is saying he's going to have surgery, and hey,
believe it,
we also made 1,000 followers on our rebranded YouTube. Thank you very much. We finally cracked 1,000, which is awesome, guys. Let me ask you another wrestling question. This is something that we've been looking forward to. Okay, is the Bobby Lashley Brock Lesnar feud everything you wanted to know about wrestling? Is it worth the price of admission? Was it worth the wait? Mr. Jargo, you go first.
Well, I didn't see Crown Jewel, so who even won the match at Crown Jewel?
Brock Lesnar, but
they have a match.
It was a crap finish, dude. I did not enjoy the match whatsoever. I was very underwhelmed. But
I mean, the problem is, like, I feel like if Bobby Lashley would just let go and just go out there and do what it is that Bobby Lashley is good at doing, he would be fine. And he does that the majority of the time. But when he gets into the ring with Brock Lesnar, and this has been an ongoing thing with Bobby Lashley, it's like he is so worried about his own safety that things just look like crap. Like he's so worried that Brock is going to drop him on that shoulder that he goes out of his way to turn his body on a German suplex. Like I feel he's so in his head when it comes to wrestling Brock Lesnar that they just can't go out there and have a good match.
All right, Virtue, what do you got?
I agree with Jargo. Bobby Lashley, like he has that intensity, but like when he gets to the big matches, it just I don't know if it's lack of chemistry or like Jargo said, that fear. Brock Lesnar is box office. Bobby Lashley still hasn't proven it to me. I mean, I hate being that critic.
He's great going out and beating up guys that are 205 pounds and throwing them all over the ring and letting them create a bunch of movement for him and just looking like a monster. But when he gets in there with somebody, pardon the pun, but his own size, It's like he is so in his head about hurting somebody else or somebody else hurting him that everything feels so robotic, and there's no fluidity to Bobby Lashley when he gets into that kind of a match.
Colin.
I mean, Jargo and Virtue just said it best. Like last night on Raw, you had Bobby Lashley come out and look awesome, beating down Seth Rollins and this, that, and the other. And then you put him in this match with Lesnar, and when Lesnar kicks his feet off the top rope to fall back on him, it looked like Bobby's never taken a bump before. That's how he landed. It looked very sloppy. Like I can't say anything because I've never been in the business, but still I've been watching it for 30 years. I've seen dudes fall 100 times, but it was just terrible looking. And the pin was garbage. I feel these two put too much pressure on themselves. And when you have too much pressure, sometimes you just combust and burn out.
Guys, I'm going to tell you something. Something I called when Bobby Lashley first came in this, and we had this discussion. I said it to you guys. He's a friend of mine. I have no ill will towards Bobby Lashley. He does not have the it factor to be a main event guy for the WWE. He just does not. And they have given him chance after chance. And this is not a slight on him. Some guys can do it. Some guys can't, right? Some guys can perform at that level, and some guys, they just don't. It doesn't take away from their wrestling. It's just they have to take a step down on the card. And Bobby Lashley just happens to have to take a step down on the card. I just think that, it's a shame. You look at Shane McMahon, and I always said Shane McMahon is probably one of the best workers ever to step the foot in the ring. And he's a part-timer. Shane McMahon is a part-timer, and look at all the great things he's done, right? It's Bobby Lashley. He's been fighting his whole life. Wrestling champion in the service, amateur wrestling, pro wrestling, MMA fighter, and here he is. He's still having struggles, right? So what do you say? Is it just it's not the it factor? Now let's get to the kid Austin Theory. He lost his Money in the Bank match, which we predicted.
For the
where did they
US
go?
title.
Where did they go
What
with him? It was to shits. Where do they go from here with him, guys?
Back
Colin,
to NXT. Get him off of Raw or SmackDown or anything related, because the kid is still greener than the light on my camera right here. I thought his match, his cash in was terrible. Honestly, like everyone talked crap about him going in and cashing in on Braun Breaker in the NXT championship. I would rather saw that than a cash in on the US title.
That's what
I know they're trying to elevate those titles again, but not with Austin Theory.
Nope. Jargo.
Oh, where do we go with Austin Theory? I guess where I would take him is a bit more ruthless rather than, being so damn goofy. I would go a bit more ruthless with Austin Theory, have him get a bit more serious, do away with the stupid selfie cam. And you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things you can do with Austin Theory. I think Austin Theory's got a ton of upside, but I really question this booking decision. I don't think it was a very good one.
Virtue.
It's funny. At WrestleMania, he had that, whole thing that went with, what's his name? Pat McAfee, Vince McMahon, and Vince gone. That was his boy. And without, Vince behind him where people could hate that, like, Roman, it's just not working, man, for him. And it needs a repackage. Like, to be how Theory is or was, you need Vince's presence there. You need to get that Vince McMahon heat. And is that Vince's guy? And it's gone. Maybe Triple H knows that, and that's why we've seen the losing streak, and he just lost the briefcase.
Well, it could be.
It's like I need more MJF and less Tyler Breeze.
Now, with all this, I just really hope that they bring back the Money in the Bank just for WrestleMania. Night 1, do the women's. Night 2, do the men's. Vice versa. Whatever. I want to see that pay-per-view go away, and hopefully it be less of a gimmick, be Mr. Money in the Bank, or Mrs. Money in the Bank,
All three of you disappoint me. I want to see Fandango again.
Dude, I would love to see Fandango.
Yeah,
I
thank you. I
Tyler
said
Breeze.
it.
I love
My
Tyler
boy,
Breeze.
yo.
I
He's
want to
got
see
plenty
Josh
of street there.
Curtis.
Fandango. Fandango. Everybody's singing his song. All right.
I loved it. Loved it.
This looked like that ESPN show, right? Pardon the interruption. All right, guys. What do you think about Natty and her broken nose? Was that reckless or just a bad shot?
You want a really bad take on this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Go ahead.
I think she told Shayna Baszler, bust my nose, I want a new one. That's it. I'm leaving it at that. Jargo?
I think it's the best thing to happen to Natty Neidhart in a long time. Like, she's got something going for her now, which is a lot more than she had before she had her nose broken. So, yeah, I mean, like, I feel like this is a good thing for Natty.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really super recall any incidences like this with Shayna Baszler up until now. You know, trying to think back, and she's normally been a pretty safe worker. So I don't know, but either way, we're not going to see Natty for a little bit, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm perfectly okay with that for now.
Go ahead, break my nose, and get a vacation, a new nose.
Yep.
We can call her Triple N. She'll be Triple N when she comes back. New nose Natty.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
Remember when they was her that did the farting gimmick
Yes.
years ago?
Yeah.
So she's got something now.
And
Like,
now
she
she'll
can
be able
run
to
with
smell
this.
them. You know what I mean?
Becky Lynch gets her face broken,
it.
becomes the biggest
Screw
star in the
it.
company. Like, maybe
guys.
Natty can turn this around. Maybe Natty
No.
can do something with this. New nose Natty, Triple N. No.
All right, we're going to end the show with Are You an Oos? Are you an Oos? Okay. We were just having this discussion, my wife and I, Miss Noel, about the Oos, right? And I said, listen, I've been an honorary Oos since the Jimmy Snuka days. When I used to wrestle Jimmy Snuka back in the day, right? And you talk about when he used to wear, you know, his wrap and do the whole Samoan thing. And I used to wrestle him on the indies and, you know, knowing the Arthur and Sika and Samu and the Samoan SWAT team and Kishi and all the cousins and Lloyd and being an honorary Oos because I used to hang with those guys back in the day, right? So Sami Zayn making the most of his Oos. Have you enjoyed it up to now? Colin, go ahead.
I mean, it gets us all sometimes, you know? Like, I love it. I've been loving this. He's having a time of his life. Just look at him. You know what I mean? I'm digging it. I got my Usi juice right here. Like, I'm ready. I can't wait to see what happens next with them on SmackDown. Usi juice, by the way, is vodka and ginger ale, but still.
Vodka and ginger ale. All right.
But, you know, but still, I'm loving it. It's comedy gold. It's been probably, besides the whole Bray Wyatt thing, the biggest thing in WWE. You know what I mean? It's revolved around Roman Reigns. It all works for me. It does. I know the turn's coming. I know the turn's coming, but for now, riding that.
You know, a month or over a month ago, I said kick him out of there. He's not Samoan and blah blah blah. But the fact that like there's going to be people behind him now because of how he's been presented or he's presented himself, and I know they're going to kick him out at some point. Like, to be an Oos, you got to be Samoan. Sorry, Vito. Right. Like, it just, I mean, you can be honorary, but I'm looking forward to that turn and how Roman Reigns, and I hope Roman gets booed out of the building for it. But we'll see. I mean, you never know. You know, you never know what they're going to do. They could do a double turn, but.
And Jargo?
Sami Zayn is a Canadian treasure. I've been following Sami Zayn ever since he was a little Generico. And I'm not at all surprised that he finds himself in the best storyline in all of pro wrestling right now. The guy just gets it. He's always got it. And all he does is get himself over regardless of what you ask him to do. And my biggest question at this point is Sami Zayn going to be the one to finally dethrone Roman Reigns? Because I think it's getting about to that damn point.
Sami Mania?
Maybe.
I mean,
but
depending on how cards fall, like say Cody can't make it back in time for the Royal Rumble. Say that we're not going to end up getting The Rock at WrestleMania. Like, I do think Sami Zayn has worked his way into that contingency plan. If this, and that happens, we're going with Sami Zayn. And I think the babyface pop would rival WrestleMania 30 for the way that they are building the story.
I'll agree with you there, Jargo. Like that third option. Yes, I could see that.
Third option. That's with The Rock coming out this week and saying he is the head of the table.
It's happening. I'm gonna love when it happens.
No.
And everybody has said it's not.
Okay,
Right.
you gotta watch the full interview in context. This was Dwayne answering a question that was posed to him directly by a reporter. He was baited into it. He took the bait. He's running with the bait, but this in no way signals anything towards WrestleMania.
Okay. So The Rock just saying it in an interview. Honorary Usos, Sami Zayn possibly main eventing WrestleMania with a co-host of his own in Kevin Owens being his boy, helping him snatch the victory. And I could see that happening. And you've been here live with the boys of MOB. Guys, let's close the show. Terrific show. We covered a great deal of stuff. I'm glad I think of this shit off the top of my head. No preparation. We just go. Thank you for AEW Botches. You inspire me every night.
I love it.
All right. Mr. Virtue, take us home, please.
That's it. Does anybody want to do their plugs? Like, you can follow me on Twitter at @NoDQ_Virtue, even with Elon Musk being the owner of Twitter now. Jargo, got anything?
Social media at Not Jargo. I'm off to run an election.
All right.
Oh, you're gonna have fun.
Mr. Colin.
You can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ Colin Andrew, or on Instagram or YouTube at the Cleaver Colin Andrew.
And be sure to follow Vito on Twitter at the Big Vito brand. That's it.
Right,
this has been a sit-down roundtable with Big Vito and company for Vito, Colin, Jargo. We'll see you again next time.
All right.
Catch the Big Vito brand on Twitch every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern.